Hello and welcome to Sage's Tabletop Table Talks. I'm Sage, this is my tabletop, and I want to talk to you about tabletop role-playing games. So, I wanted to do a video, because, we talk about fixing games and, certain things in games that don't work, and reviews of games that are not the greatest. So I want to do a review that was, let's say, it was 100%, 90%, 85% positive. Can't be 100% positive. I am, after all, a mediocre white man posting videos on the internet. By law, I have to be pointlessly angry about something that doesn't matter. But I want to talk about some games. These are games that I have read or even some have heard about that I would like to try out, play, but I haven't had a chance to yet. So it's mostly positive because most of these games I want to try because they look good. And remember, if one of our videos, I think it was 10,000 likes, we will get together and we will play a full session of Fatal. I don't want to, but I would like the views. So or likes. I think it was likes. So by all means, click that like button if you hate me enough to make me want to play Fatal. But let's talk about some good games I want to play. The first one is a game I don't own, and it's actually one that would be exceptionally difficult to play because it sadly does have like a loot mechanic. It had playing cards that came with it, so you would buy booster packs of playing cards and put them into a deck of powers that you could utilize. The game is Gamma World, and specifically the 7th edition. The rarity, so it's a super, super easy game. You build a character, you roll, there are 20 different character types, and you roll a d20 twice, and you would get, A and B. And if you roll the same number twice, you're a human. But, other than that, you kind of just, build this thing from how it is. But one of the other things in the game is, I don't remember how many, like 10, but you could buy booster packs of cards that would have what they called Omega Mutations. I think it was Omega Mutations in Alpha Tech. Might be the other way around. But they would be like little one-use superpowers you would have. But because rarity was a thing, to just print them out and pull from, just say, these are the 10 I like, you're just going to pick 10 that are more powerful, which kind of is a shitty mechanic. But other than that, I kind of like the game. So I have a history with Gamma World. So when I first started playing, and I've talked about having played since the fucking dinosaur times, like, I was rolling dice made out of chiseled rock with Ugg and Smug in the caves. But many, many years ago, when I really was starting to play tabletop role-playing games, me and my friend Russell would go over to Josh, who's the kind of the main guy on this channel, the head of this channel. We would go to his house when we were kids. We were like middle school. And if his dad didn't work or whatever, he would play tabletop role-playing games with us. And the first one I ever played was 2nd edition. I believe it was the 2nd edition Gamma World. I don't think it was 1E. I think it was 2E. So Gamma World kind of has I have a history with Gamma World. The first games we played were like Gamma World and Mech Warrior. We played a one-shot Paranoia, but the games we really played were Gamma World and Mech Warrior. So Gamma World absolutely has a very, very deep part of my heart. But for those of you who don't remember back in the dark ages of gaming, back when duels were fought with real swords on jousting fields, to kind of just sell the game on you, like I said, you roll 2d20 and it kind of gives you 2 powers. So one of the they have powers like Speedster or Insect or displaced. So you could be a temporally displaced speedster. You could be a seismic powered android. Or you could be a swarm of Yetis. One of the powers of swarm, one of them is Yeti. So if nothing else, and it's one anybody who talks about this game talks about the possibility, 1 in 400 chance of it, but you could end up rolling a swarm of Yetis, and that's just fucking crazy. So the second game I want to talk about is, let's see here, I actually have this book, Blue Rose. So this is the second edition that uses the the adventure gaming engine, the Age system. I kind of like to try it out. So how the game system works is you roll 2d6. I call it 2d6 plus 1d6. You roll 3d6, but one of those dice will be off colored. So you'd roll like 2 blue and 1 white dice. And if you roll doubles, you look at that white dice, and like depending on what it rolled, would give you the option of a number of tricks you could use when you roll those doubles. That's kind of cool. And one of the things I like is the Nation of Aldous, which is this beautiful, wonderful, like super progressive utopia. And anytime I see a utopia in a game, my first thought is, how do I fuck their shit up? Utopias, because utopias simply don't exist. Your utopia might exist. But I'm gonna tell you right now, whatever utopia you have is someone else's hell. So, like, I had this idea for a game where I want to take the world and turn it into, like, a benevolent fascist world, wherein the, people, despite being good-natured and desperately wanting to do good, are accidentally quashing, opposition. And I think that would be an interesting kind of space to play in. But my selling point is there's 5 species, races, creatures, backgrounds, whatever you want to call them. I wonder what they call them. Race. 5 races. There are humans, there are the Vata, which are elves. The Night Folk, which are half orcs. Well, orcs. They're orcs. There are the Sea Folk, which are just elves in water. And then there are the Rhydan. You can play psychic animals. Not psychic animal people. That. All right, there. Those are the Rhydan. A little kitty cat. Meow. A little puppy dog. Woof, woof, woof. But they can communicate psychically. So, yeah, you can play a weird psychic dog or horse or fucking dolphin if you want to play a weird animal. Oh, there you go. So those are the different creatures. You get Rhydan, and there's the Night Folk, and that dude's the Vata. There's the Sea Folk, and that's a human. I think it's a human. Yeah, it's a human. But yeah, I just think it would be interesting to kind of like fuck their utopia up. It's just a natural reaction I have whenever I see utopia in fiction. I'm like, man, what can you do to ruin their day? And I don't know why I'm like that. But, I don't know. That somebody out there with a, degree in psychology might be able to tell me more. But as it is, I have no idea why my reaction to, wow, this looks beautiful and peaceful and wonderful and idyllic. Burn it to the ground. Speaking of idyllic, this wasn't next, but I figure this is a good segue. I really want to try this Tales of Equestria game. I know the brony culture has had some very unsavory people in it. I actually like the show, this particular Friendship is Magic show. I'm obsessed with it. There was absolutely nothing sexual about it. I thought it was a cute little kid show. Despite the size of this book, like you can look at the thickness of these pages. Like that's might be hard to tell, but that's one page thick, and a lot of it is illustration. So the book is actually super light, super easy to use. I could very easily see being able to quickly learn and play this game, just picking it up right off, and even your friends who aren't very rules savvy could just pick this up, build a character in 20 minutes, and if that even, and play it. The game mechanics are super simple. 3 stats, you have a die in that stat, you try to beat a target number on that die. So it might be a target number of 3, you have a d6, you roll that d6, if it's a 3 or better, you succeed, if it's less than a 3, then you fail. I think the game could use a little more robust skill system. You can have a cutie mark, which is kind of like a trademark skill, and that'll give you an extra die to roll. So you might roll 2d6 or a d6 and a d8 to be that target number. I think you use a robust skill system in the game where you might have 3 skills with dice in them, but that might be a little much for the audience this was aimed for, which was little kids. Much like Monster Hearts, which I've commented a lot about people who play Monster Hearts, I absolutely see this possibly getting a very toxic fan base around it, which is why I wouldn't play this at a convention. I'd be really, even if 1 in 100 are creeps, the 1 in 100 brony creeps are like next level fucking creeps. They are top tier, like fucking, don't let your kids near them, cross the street when you see them walking by level creeps. For real, like. But yeah, anyway, so yes, this would be, I would love to be able to play this one. I actually don't have, so talking about animals, I don't have a copy of the next book, and I would like. And before everybody starts, I know it's a furry game. It actually looks like a really solid game. That is Ironclaw. I don't know which edition it was. I was able to read. I wasn't able to read. I was able to thumb through it. But the idea of Ironclaw is it's a medieval Europe fantasy game, but everyone is an anthropomorphic animal. The game has like kind of a fun mechanic, and one of the things I like about the game is your animal aspect. Like, if you're a skunk, how skunky you are is a stat. So like you could have a D4 skunk and just look like a skunk, because the game uses that escalating dice system: D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. Roll. I don't remember if it's roll under or roll over a target number. I believe it's roll over. Most of these games that use that kind of system are roll over a target number. But so like you could be like a skunk man who has virtually no tie to their skunkiness, or you have one that has like a D10 skunkiness, and you just be like a master at shooting your fart gas at everybody. I know it's sulfur bait, but don't at me. It's a fucking joke, guys. But yeah, it does look a little too medieval fruity for my taste. Like, if I'm gonna play something like that, I would like a little more on the epic side than on the traditional side. But I think it looks like a fun game that would be interesting to play. Speaking of traditional, and this almost contradicts what I just said. I would love to play either basic or advanced first edition Dungeons and Dragons. I have played D&D, AD&D second edition. I would love to just see the origin of the game It's probably not a great game. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just fantastic. Maybe it's one of the best tabletop role playing games ever. Um, it seems weird because we stand on the shoulders of freaks, stand on the shoulders of giants. Sorry. Um, but it would be really just interesting to go back, try it out, and just see what it's like, just to see where all this shit originated from. Um, if somebody get brought a copy, I'd love to play. Maybe not just a one shot because that wouldn't be enough to really dig your teeth into it, but maybe play a quick campaign, like maybe a 5-6 session campaign of one of the first editions of Dungeons and Dragons. I think that would be really cool. No segue. Fate. I want to try Fate. I want to try it really bad. I need to buy a world book or a source book or a setting, whatever the fuck you want to call it, for Fate, because this book here is nothing. Like, it's a very difficult read because there's just nothing here. Like, it's just rules. It's just, okay, here are the rules for shooting. This is what happens. What happens if you try to use it to overcome? If you try to use it to create an advantage for yourself. If you try to use it to attack. If you try to use it for defending. Some stunts you can use. You know, super crazy basic character sheet here. The idea of Fate dice interests me. Oh man, that keeps fucking my color grading up, doesn't it? Oh no, I'm back in ye old Western time. Ding, 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 ding. Give me some sarsaparillas. So I'm gonna try to stop putting books in front of the camera. See if it evens out my coloring. I'm already fucking almost 20 minutes into this. I'm not re-recording this shit. Because I would probably forget the jokes I told anyway. But I would probably get another book for Fate. It looks like it'd be really good for playing kind of a Doc Savage style kind of pulpy adventure. I like the Fate dice. I think they're an interesting mechanic wherein you're rolling on a scale from -4 to +4. Very likely you're going to be getting ones, zeros, and -1s. And so heavily your skill level is going to influence the way the game functions more than this random luck, but you just might get this crazy out of left field roll of 4 ones or 4 positives or 4 negatives. Fate dice have 2 positives, 2 negatives, and 2 blank faces. So what you do is you add your positives, subtract your negatives, and you'll get a number between -4 and +4. You can use the D6, just be 1 and 2s are negative, 3s and 4s are blanks, 5s and 6 are positive. So you can use any dice that is divisible by 3. So, you know, D6s, D12s, you could use even if you really wanted to. Keeping that many numbers in your head might be difficult, but, you know, it is what it is. Who the fuck doesn't have 46s in their house? If you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, if you're playing any tabletop game, you've got 4 6-sided dice hiding in your house somewhere you can dig out to play Fate. But yeah, there's a couple of world books I would like to check out. I like Monkey Dude, this karate monkey guy on the cover. Like, as interesting as he is, he's not really anywhere in this book. Like, he probably mentioned in passing, but like, I want to play karate monkey with a robot arm. Like, it's a game I want to play. I had thought if I could get my group really like get the group back together, playing kind of a One Piece setting in Fate. I think that would be pretty fun. Now, I want to try Fate. it looks like it would work, but I also think it looks like it could be a little boring and a little fangless. But there it is. I've talked about this, and I will talk about this game again. I have a topic lined up of my favorite universes. So once again, I'm gonna talk about probably my favorite universe of all time, Scion. Now this is the second edition of Scion. I played the fuck out of the first edition, and I don't like White Wolf's game mechanics. I don't like the storyteller system, which shows you how much I want Scion to be good. In Scion Second Edition, the Pantheons are so much. There's 10 of them. Um, they're better. They're more interesting. Unfortunately, they are a lot less robust in what they do. But we have 10 Pantheons, and one of the things I don't like they changed in Second Edition is the idea that the gods are just everybody just, oh yeah, no, Zeus is a real god. We all know this. We understand this. We get, fuck it, the Dagda. Yeah, of course the Dagda's real. Who? And I don't like that. So if I had played this, I would like that. I understand it makes a lot of kind of, especially if you're a newer DM, because the idea of the hidden world is a little bit harder story to tell than just, curb stomping some fucking ice giants. But a lot of the people I play with are experienced enough that they would really be able to do the hidden world that Scion First Edition had with this way. But like I said, the Pantheons are so much better. And got all the 10 Pantheons right here. They took out the voodoo and replaced them with the actual African gods they somewhat correlate to, and then are like, oh yeah, if you want to play voodoo, this African deity correlates to this voodoo deity. Same with like the Greeks and the Romans, like Zeus and Jupiter correlate to each other. They're not perfect one-for-one matches because Rome isn't culturally Greek. And so like they had to change some things for Jupiter to fit how they view their culture. They're close enough to use though. Zeus and Jupiter are close enough that their power sets are similar enough. Also, they changed the Norse Pantheon's power from giving dogs your blood to make them slightly stronger to giving them like this kind of fate power. I would have gone with runes, but fate power works, I guess. The Aztec gods still kind of suck. It's still very much about blood sacrifices, which kind of, yeah, like culturally, their culture did have a thing on blood sacrifices, but I think if I was doing it, I would have a more focus on the idea of like the universal cycles, like because currently, with their mythology, we are in the fifth iteration of the universe. So I think like maybe doing something that will allow you to draw from the previous iterations would be a little better. I'm just not a big fan of forcing players into like blood packs and blood sacrifices. And one of the reasons I fucking hate warlocks in Dungeons and Dragons. But no, I would love to give this game a try. Some things that changed I really, really like. Some things they changed I really, really don't. But I love the world enough that I suffered through the fucking storyteller system for it. Those are all the books I have. There's a couple more games I kind of want to talk about. Feng Shui. As I've stated before, I am there it is, huge fan of Kung Fu stuff. I love like Kung Fu, karate, samurai, ninja shit. Like a big major fan of it. And Feng Shui is a game themed around, and there's multiple editions, so I'd probably try to play the newest one just because it's probably the most refined. Um, but It's like a kung fu game where it's got like this idea of like this crazy time skip concept. Modern editions, more now, they would probably make it like a multiverse thing, but like there's like ancient China, modern, future, and when you build a character, you just kind of throw an archetype on. Like, are you the grizzled cop? Are you the wizened veteran? Are you the young student? Yeah, you get a couple powers, get a couple stats, and then you roll two dice, one positive, one negative, much like Fate, and you get a skill range based on that. You add, subtract that to your skill, and you determine if you succeed or not. But it's kung fu themed, so I'm there with bells and whistles on. Same with Weapon of the Gods. I have a PDF of Weapon of the Gods. I don't actually have it, a physical copy. Um, Once again, it's all kung fu themed. It's very, it feels very much like an Exalted style game. For those of you who don't know, Exalted is White Wolf's version of kung fu movies. It's basically Scion, except it's got kind of its own universe where like you're what's called a solar, which is a descendant. Well, the sun gave a bunch of people powers, and then they're in the cycle of reincarnation. So you play one of the reincarnation of the solars. Expansion books let you play the other types of like immortals, the dragon blooded, the Sidrials who are like fate based, lunars who have like animalism, the infernals and the abyssals who are kind of counterparts to the solars and the lunars. Um, but fuck that shit. Exalted's got a cool universe too. I think it would be fun to play Exalted in something like Fate or Mutants and Masterminds. I love Mutants and Masterminds. I would love to play Mutants and Masterminds again. Um, but one of those kind of more generic or even superhero type systems, I think that you could do a really cool Exalted campaign. But Weapon of the Gods is kind of that world. But you kind of have like this pool of 5 stats based on Luxia elements: earth, fire, water, wood, and metal. And if y'all could handle how hot it is, I'd show you my tattoo that's kind of based around those elements. But I'm gonna save that for the OF account. Um, but one of the things I don't like is you roll a pool of d10s and then you try to use it to make like these poker hands with them, and I feel like that could really slow the game down. Maybe not. Maybe a pick it up like that. But it just seems like it would slow the game down a little bit too much more than it needs to for a game about crazy kung fu shit. Because I feel like games about crazy kung fu shit should be like fast paced and snappy. It should feel like a kung fu movie where like boom, 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 boom. Just constant boom, boom, back and forth action. But yeah, I think Weapon of the Gods is one of those games I would really like to try out. And I'll go one more. We'll do one more. I'll do two more because I don't want to end it on this one, but I would like to try Made. I would want to try it with people I would be comfortable playing kind of a raunchy game, because it is a raunchy game. It's about a group of maids and you roll random costumes, which could include shit like bondage gear. Um, it uses entire D6, but the DM is like the master, and you're playing a bunch of maids who like are trying to gain the master's affection through like crazy scenarios. And the game, I think, with the right players, could be a lot of just really dumb fun. You wouldn't want someone who takes it too seriously, and you wouldn't want someone who takes it too far, because Both of those things would make the scenarios very uncomfortable. But I think if you have a group of people who are kind of bought into the idea and ready to play this kind of game, I think it could be fun. So with that, I will go with the last game I'll talk about, which is I want to just try Witch Girl Adventures. I know at least the very first printing was like on a editorial nightmare. I'd like to see. I'm certain they released another edition. The idea of Witch Girl's Adventure is it's Hogwarts, but without J.K. Rowling's baggage. You play a bunch of witches in a school for witches where you're going through random stuff, but all both high school drama and witchy drama. Um, but what I don't even want to DM it. I want to play it because I want to play the Punch Witch. So what is the Punch Witch? It's a hiccup in the mechanic. The guys at System Mastery talked about. This is where I got it from. Really, what sold me on it. So one of the legacies, because you have various stats like strength, constitution, agility, intelligence, and one of your stats is magic. But if you play a legacy character, you can replace your magic stat with another stat. So you could play this character with maxed out strength, whose magic is based on their strength. So like this idea of like just this big beefy bodybuilder jock witch who doesn't even really know magic, but whose parents like donate $800,000 a year to the school, so you just kind of get in on legacy, but you're just a big tough bully who kind of like muscles their way around, and it's like, I know a spell. Yeah, that's my spell. My spell is called Magic Fist, and you just punch him. Here's a spell I call Entrapment, Locker, Smash. So honestly, I mostly just want to play the Punch Witch. And any game where you would play like a magic style school like that, I'm like, oh no, I want to play a Punch Witch. I want to play who doesn't even know magic, but also is just a big tough bruiser. I'm pretty sure there's an anime like that's like a Hogwarts, but one character knows no magic and just like rough shots over everybody. But the Witch Girl Adventures idea, the Punch Witch from that came from System Mastery like 10 years ago. So I'm gonna say they beat them to it before the anime. But anyway, yeah, I just want to play a Punch Witch. But yeah, those are just some games that I think I would really like to try, have a really positive experience for. A lot of them have really positive vibes. And they are specifically games I'd want to play. Because I got a whole nother thing about game worlds I think are really cool and interesting and have a lot of potential. Let's get Scion, which I think Scion's a great game to play in a different system. But I give second edition a shot. But anyway, so yeah, half hour. I think that's good for tonight. But I will see you next time.